Do you remember what we were doing?
We were looking to see like what she was saying, what Clara Barton was saying about this.
Okay, and do you remember what we call that?
Author's purpose?
Author's purpose. So it said here, what do you think Clara Barton's purpose was for writing? And then not only did you have to give the purpose, but what else did you have to do?
Evidence and reason.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm going to give you a chance to reread what you wrote. And I want you to tell me a little bit about your process. What you were doing when you wrote this. What kind of steps did you take? So just give you a minute to kind of look over it again. Okay, tell me a little bit about your process from opening to end. Tell me what you did.
I reread the poem again and picked out what she said.
So you found evidence strictly from here? Okay, so would you say that the first thing, if I were to grade this, what do you think I would look for? Would I look for the author's purpose?
Probably.
Yeah. And what else would I look for?
Opening.
Okay.
Conclusion.
Okay. Conclusion. What else? What goes in here?
The evidence.
The evidence. Okay, and where does the evidence have to come from? It has to come from here. Okay, so let's start with your author's purpose, okay? And let's take a look at what you came up with. In the poem, The Women Who Went to the Field, Clara Barton, her purpose was to tell us what they do when they're there. Do you think that's what she's really trying to tell you? Or do you think there's more to it than that? Okay, what do you see? To tell us what they do when they're there. That's very general to me. So what do they do when they're there? And should they even be there? So sometimes an author's purpose is, what's their opinion on this whole thing? What do they really think? And what do they want you to think as a result of writing this? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you're going to have to dig a little bit deeper on that. So let's take a look at the poem again and see if we can, because you picked out some really good stuff. So let's take a look at it. The women who went to the field, you say, the women who went to the field and pray. What did they go for? Just to be in the way? I'm going to underline that because that's giving me something there, I think. Okay? They did not know the difference between work and play. What did they know about war anyway? What could they do? Of what use could they be? They would scream at the sight of a gun, don't you see? So I'm going to underline that. Do you see what I'm kind of getting at here? So just in these two, I'm getting something in my head. What do you think she's trying to say about women in the battlefield?
That they're not much use because they're like in the way. And they're very like not used to this.
So what's her opinion on women being in the battlefield? Ah, see now, do you see that little bit of a deeper? That's better. See how that's a difference between just telling us what they do there? That's kind of general, but now you're getting into the opinion into that. Okay, so do you see how I underline too? Okay, so as I go, you tell me when you hear something else, okay? Just fancy them round where the bugle notes play and the long roll is bidding us to the fray. Imagine their skirts among artillery wheels and watch for their flutter as they flee across the fields. Right there? What do you think that means as they flee across?
That they're like running away from something that they seem because they got scared.
So maybe they can't handle it? Okay. When the charges rammed home and the fire belches hot, they will wait for the answering shot. They would faint at the first drop of blood in their sight.
So they would faint?
Okay, I like that one. What fun for us boys, ere we enter the fight. They might pick up some lint and tear up the sheets and make us some jellies and send on their sweets and knit some soft socks for Uncle Sam's shoes and write us some letters and tell us the news. Anything in there?
It's like when you're saying that what they do is not like there. It's like somewhere else.
Okay, and this is all good stuff, right, that they could do. And thus it was settled by common consent that husbands or brothers or whoever went, that the place for the women was in their own homes. Do you like that one? Okay. There to patiently wait until victory comes. So now that I've had that author's purpose, and I'm going to write that right here. Women don't be long, because that's what you said, right? So that's kind of my author's purpose now. Now, I've already underlined some evidence. Do you agree with me? But how many pieces of evidence do I need?
3.
I need at least 3. I got a lot here to choose from. So what do I have to do? How do I pick my 3?
Pick the best ones.
Okay, so you tell me which you think are the best ones.
That one.
You think that one? Okay, so I'm going to write B1 right there.
And that one.
Just to be in, okay?
And that one.
You think they're going to, okay. So now I've got my author's purpose. I've got my evidence. Now all I have to do is,
Back out.
So you've got some good stuff here. It says, she says, what are they there for to get in the way? So she does ask the question, but answers it. I do believe she is saying that women are in the battlefield are not meant to be. See, now you put your, see there, she is saying that women in the battlefield are not meant to be there. But do you see how far down in your paragraph you put that? Or that, it sounds like that would probably go up there. You see what I'm saying? And then, does that make sense? So I think if you could walk away with one thing that you could work on next time, because obviously you don't want to stay here. You want to get that up to proficiency. What's the one thing you would say you're going to work on?
Work on sorting out my paragraphs better to have more details.
Okay, so maybe being very clear about that author's purpose, right from kind of not getting too far off until it's way down here. And then where are you going to get your evidence from?
Those three.
Exactly. And maybe underline it and do some stuff like that. Yeah? Something to work on? Okay, I'll be looking for it. See ya.